talk about pricing strategies that work for training courses. Just a bit of background. I am, like I said before, an owner of a training company. We deliver training in Australia, New Zealand, and the UK. Through my experience in running a training company, I sort of put together a number of different presentations that look at different aspects of running a training company, pricing strategies being one of them. This is part of a selling and promoting training seminar series. So there's actually a big range of them. If you're interested in any more of them, they're all free webinars, and a lot of webinars are actually available online as well on YouTube. You can go and have a look online on coursesales.com, which is where they are. So hopefully this presentation will be about 15-20 minutes long, and then open for questions as well. So I'll try and whiz through the slides, but feel free to pipe up and ask any questions if I come to a slide that you've got questions about. There'll be some case studies towards the end as well that might provide some discussion. So I'll just confirm you can all hear me, just making sure again. How are you going, Rachel? Just type in a yes there, Rachel. Oh, excellent. Thank you. Okay, so topics to cover. We're going to look at pricing strategy steps, some recommendations there. We're going to look at a product life cycle and the natural course of a life cycle of a product and how it works. Getting to know your customers, competitive pricing costs, variable pricing by customer groups, which can to lead to changing your pricing by a particular type of group, whether they be discounts or whether they be corporate customers. Choosing a price strategy and some profit and other considerations. In addition to these, I will be covering some examples, specifically the airline industry, which I think is a good parallel to running training companies. So pricing strategy steps. First of all, it's important to establish the life cycle position. So where is the life cycle of your product? Where are you in the life cycle of your product? Then you've got to get to know your customers. You've got to research that competitor activity to enable your pricing to be market competitive. Confirm the costs, which mean you make sure that you're actually making a profit and that it's realistic to aim at a particular price. And then decide on your pricing strategies, how you'd like to discount, how you'd like to target different audiences. Probably the most important thing, I think, is to keep monitoring the pricing. Monitoring the pricing means that you've actually got evidence, usually, hopefully, numerical evidence, proving that your pricing strategy is working or that there are room for improvement. So the product life cycle, roughly this is how you sort of expect a product life cycle to go. You initially have a growth period, and then you have and you get to a level of maturity, which starts to level off the product. Then it starts to decrease with regards to its value. There's lots of more competitors in the marketplace. There becomes a degree of commoditization, and eventually, of course, there's a decline in the product completely. So looking at the different products that you're selling, you've got to work out where it is. Now, different products may tail off differently. They might have a longer tail, but generally speaking, there's a peak and then there is a dip as more people come into the marketplace. Now, the pricing, as it's shown in the red line there, can increase to begin with because there's a unique offering in the marketplace. But like I say, as you get these competitors coming in or competitors dropping out, you get an oscillation in the pricing, which eventually drops as there's a large number of competitors out there, and the product generally has a termination in its existence in the marketplace. So finding out where you are along that line is an important step in working out your pricing strategies. So knowing your customers is important. Working out whether you're working with businesses or individuals. So the customer isn't necessarily the person who comes on the course. It could be the person who books the individual on the course. So it may be an HR department, or it may be someone who's responsible as a manager for a group of people. So you've got to work out who you're targeting. Equally, are they students or school leavers? Are you looking at people who are in business already? Are they paying for themselves or is their business paying for it? So these are some of the questions you've got to ask about the dislikes, likes, etc. Interestingly, it's worthwhile considering what people would pay more for. If you have evaluation forms gathering information about customers, and you're monitoring the questions that come into the administrators or the sales team, um, you'll find out questions that are asked by customers that could indicate a way of changing the delivery format to actually get people to pay a little bit more for their training. Something that I found in my delivery, I deliver 5-day training courses, and these training courses are delivered during the week. Now, there is a market in my particular mode of delivery which says that people would like to have weekend courses. So if I deliver weekend courses, people don't have to take time off work. Maybe they're paying for themselves as contractors, and so they're prepared to pay in effect more on a per day basis for the same course. So looking at competitor pricing, maybe you'll find that your competitors have actually discovered something about your shared customer groups without you realizing it. Maybe they're offering something that you're not, which is actually fulfilling a market need. Um, is their format changing? So is the format of the way they deliver? Are they offering something more that you're not? And sometimes this can give you an opportunity to look at modifying your own offering, or maybe enhancing the marketing of an offering you do that your competitors are not. Looking at their pricing strategy is well worthwhile. To find out if your competitors are discounting a long time before a course, or are they tending to discount the moment before a course happens? Are they bundling courses together? These are good ways with which you can keep an eye on the marketplace and find out exactly how are other people seeing the market and seeing the effectiveness of it. I've actually done something with my competitors. I've actually I hired someone to phone them up and to find out information about their offering, to find out what sort of pricing models they are putting out there. Um, and some people think, oh, well, that's a bit scary to do that. And yeah, it can be scary, but you've got to know you need transparency in the marketplace. And to have transparency, you need to be able to find out what is being offered. If you prefer not to contact your customers, then ask your existing customers, or even better, ask people who were going to go with you but decided not to go with you, just decided a competitor, and find out why they chose that competitor. Find out what made them switch from choosing you to choosing a competitor. Maybe it just wasn't about price. Maybe it was something about their offering, or the way they described the price, or the way they allowed maybe multiple payments to occur, those sorts of things. I think terms and conditions are pretty important. Terms and conditions tend to be something that training providers don't want to tell their customers about. They put a link and say, you're agreeing to these terms and conditions, and the terms and conditions are on our website somewhere. Um, that's probably, you're not maybe making the most of the terms and conditions that you could. Sometimes terms and conditions can, if you are more competitive than other people in the marketplace, be a reason for people to come and book with you. So sometimes terms and conditions can be a good way for yourself to provide a competitive advantage. And of course, there are lots of other things like optional extras that people can add on to a price. So you can affect, sometimes what we did with our courses is we decreased our course price by taking away extras. Things like, literally things. We were on our courses, we provide course materials and additional course materials and meals on our courses and things. We started to think, well, if a competitor is willing to drop prices, which they were, we're going to start taking those away and make them optional extras. So we allowed people to then add those on when they made their booking online. They actually chose to have a meal, or they chose to have additional course materials and additional templates and additional experiences, such as extra tutorials, for example. And these were optional extras that allowed us to decrease our course price to meet our competitors, but still allowed us to offer an enhanced service. And of course, you can do things like membership discounts. You can either do it through an existing, I say, RACQ membership arrangement. And, who's to say you have to talk to RACQ about it? Just offer the discount. Just say, hey, if you guys have got an RACQ card, you get a discount. And you might attract a certain number of customers that would have gone to a competitor otherwise. It doesn't have to be arranged with RACQ. You could offer people if they've got a student card a discount, or if they've got a some sort of coffee multi purchasing card a discount. You can offer anything, any discounts you wish. You could also create your own membership, which involves a number of administration activities, etc. So it might be costly to do that, but also an option. So costs. Now, we basically, without our organisation and other organisations that I've seen, divide costs pretty much into two categories. You've got your fixed costs for delivery, and you've got your variable costs. So your fixed costs, like it says there, trainer, venue, travel, etc., things that are related to, even if there was nobody in the room, what costs would you have? Now, variable costs are related to the individual. So you've got course materials that each individual will require, any licenses that are required to be paid for, catering, etc. So it's important to look at costs relative to the pricing that you're putting forward, because you want to make sure you're making a profit. Because if you're not making a profit, then you've got to, number one, either decrease your costs or you've got to increase your price. And you can, the other option, of course, within a training environment is to increase the number of participants on the course. So while you might not be making a profit on a group of 6, you might make a pretty good profit on a group of 12. So similar to an airline, if they have 50 people on a 150, 200 person plane, then they're covering their fixed costs and maybe their variable costs. So they're not making a profit. But if they fill the plane up, they're making quite a handsome profit because their fixed costs are catered for. And from then on, it's just the difference between variable and the price of the ticket. Can I just take an opportunity just to check everyone's okay? Is everything going all right then? Everyone can hear me and see the slides, etc. Feel free to just type something into the chat there. Great, excellent. Thank you very much. Okay, so varying price by customer group. This is an interesting concept whereby, and I know a lot of training organisations do this. Particularly, they have customer groups who are eligible for certain government funding, for instance, or they have groups that are eligible for particular discounts. Let's say if someone's unemployed, it might be an option to give them a discount, etc. There's a lot of other ways of doing it, though. Things like, for example, personalised pricing. Now, personalized pricing is quite specific and it requires quite a hands-on involvement between the person selling the course and the person who's going to be attending on the course or purchasing it. So in effect, you're pricing on a per customer basis. Now, your customers might not be individuals, participants. They might be companies or they might be specific schools, but the customer, depending on who's going to be making the purchasing, it's an arrangement between you and them. Versioning is another way of doing it. Basically versioning your different deliveries, so creating different types of courses. You could say sell the same course, but as a different arrangement. Let's say, for example, you had a course running over 6 weeks and it was running 2 days a week. It's possible you could offer people just to come on the first day of each week. They do it over 12 weeks rather than 6 weeks, and you could offer a different price for those sorts of arrangements. And then you just let them choose. This sort of gold, silver, platinum offering, where people can get a different type of experience as a result. Something we're looking at doing with our courses is introducing tablets. Our intention is to have tablets that can actually question people as to their progress during the course and do exercises. Now, we could offer, for example, some people to have tablets and some people not to have tablets. That's the type of versioning. Did I hear someone interested in asking a question? No? Okay. Continuing on then. So group pricing. Now, this can be, like I say, location demographics. You may find that different markets can sustain different levels of pricing. We work in multiple markets internationally. So we work in the UK, New Zealand, and Australia. We've found definitely that there is different pricing tolerances in New Zealand and Australia. And that's partly to do with competitor activity, but also to do with quality perception of our brand. We find that if we can work on the quality of our brand, people are prepared to pay upwards of 20% more for our courses because we have a higher quality. There's a higher quality perception in the market than our competitors. And the irony is, the higher price actually has a feedback loop around that, because people see if it's a higher price, it must be better. And we are constantly filling our courses, even though we're having a higher price in the marketplace. Um, Equally, we find that different types of customers in different sectors will pay different amounts for courses. So if you're dealing with the government, for example, or you're dealing with mining companies, or you're dealing with universities, or different, basically, sectors of the market, you'll find that they have different pricing points. And again, to maximize the profitability, you can look at which customers are prepared to pay more for your offering. Um, that's another sort of angle with regards to group pricing. Of course, there is discounting, which is the most common form of pricing that I find applied by training companies. Early bird pricing is a popular one. Early bird pricing is basically where you discount if someone purchases a course a long way off. So if you're going to purchase a course in 2 months' time, which gives the training provider certainty of running that course and certainty of having bookings, then we're prepared to discount you heavily. If you are not prepared, if you buy sort of in the 2 weeks before the course, you actually pay a greater amount because you've waited that length of time to make the purchase. What we do something I think even more clever, and I think that you might want to adopt this. What we do is we actually increment our price. We start with a very low price to start with, like anything greater than 8 weeks from a course date start. Is the lowest price we'll give. And so we allocate, I think it's a 15% discount off our prices if you purchase 8 weeks before or greater. So if you purchase 12 weeks before, you also get the 15% discount. What we do, though, is we say on X date, the price will increase by usually about $50 or something like that. Our price will increase by $50. So if you don't make a purchase at that 8-week mark, the next week you're going to be paying $50 more. And we do that every week up until 2 weeks before the course. So every week we say, and this is just in the span of the 8 weeks prior to the event, every week we're increasing the price closer and closer to the RRP price, the recommended retail price. So our recommended retail price is set. We offer a huge discount, and we say it's going to increase by $50 this week. If you don't purchase it this week, it's going to increase $50. And then the next week, say, it's going to increase another $50. And then it's going to increase another $50. And so we provide an impetus for people to make the purchase in that week, because pricing isn't just about getting the customers in. It's about making them make the purchase as soon as possible to avoid them looking at competitors and those sorts of things. So that's a type of early bird pricing. I'll just move through. And just as a matter of interest, we actually in some cases, in some markets, we drop the price back to 15% in the last week before the course, depending on student numbers. So we go up and then we plummet a week before the course. But people have to weigh up as to whether or not they're prepared to maybe miss out on the course. So profit and other considerations. Don't rely on attendance numbers. Basically, making decisions about the viability of a course means that you've got to make sure you're getting a profit, or at least covering costs. Now, you may not make, we've actually made decisions to not make a profit on some courses. We make a loss on some courses on the basis that there will be a consistent delivery in the marketplace, and we get people feeling comfortable about booking with us in the future. And we're prepared to make a profit in the next course, but make a loss in this course. So sometimes you have to have a 6 or 12-month viewpoint as to where your profit lies. Is it on a per course basis, or is it on a 12-month basis? And it's not relying on attendance numbers. And pay what you want auctions. That's another option. Why not? Why not pay what you want? Try an option which says, offer us a price for this course. And then take the top 10% of people who have the highest price offering. It's a great way to gain a market price, because that's what people are prepared to pay for. See if you can do. I don't know if you can do it on eBay. eBay costs, transaction costs are quite high, but you could do it just on your website. Have a little space, enter the price that you'd like to pay. No obligation to purchase. But if you are in the price of the top 10%, you'll get a course. Another one is to offer the freemium, of course, to basically offer something for free, but you pay for all the add-ons. A best way to do that, of course, is something sort of online offering, and then maybe tutorials that people come in and actually pay for, particularly if you have an exam or something associated with the course. There's also things like offering the course, but then charging people for certificate printing or books or whatever else they might be interested in purchasing. And then there's terms and conditions. You could actually sell your terms and conditions. Why not offer someone to buy out of the restrictions of a cancellation? Why not offer them to pay an extra $100, and if you cancel, it's okay, we'll give you your money back. Obviously, you have to look at the costs associated with that, but buying out of terms and conditions is a great way to offer an add-on. Make cancellation easy. Maybe that could be your selling point. Maybe you come up and you say, no cancellation fees, no transfer fees, completely free, and we're so much better than our competitors because our competitors will charge you X amount for cancellation. Just the fear that they might be charged that could be enough to bring them to you rather than your competitor. So I've got a couple of case studies. I think there's 2 of them in here. Let's have a look. There's at least 2. Yeah, there's 2 case studies, definitely. So I've got a couple of case studies, and then I'll tell you about these. So basically, problem. This is an airline case study. Positioning course prices so they meet the demand for them rather than being sold cheaply or too expensively. So that's to say, the solution for this low-cost carrier, I think it was Ryanair, was to offer the lowest price furthest from the departure date. So similar to that early bird booking deal, and then incrementing prices based on the speed of uptake. So what they actually did is they sold the first 4 seats, for example, for $10, and that's literally the prices they sell these seats for. And then the next 4 are sold for 20, etc. However, the first 10, if they're sold in the same day, the first 10 seats in this case, you can just apply this to training courses. If they're sold on the same day, and it was estimated they'd take a week, the next group of 10 courses or 10 seats might be sold at $30 rather than the $20 originally planned. Or maybe they sell less places at that higher price. So if you can keep a close study on your course places, offer them really cheap to start with, see how fast they sell, which will determine the price and the number of places for the next batch of course places. What it means is people start to understand that they need to buy in advance, because one of the tragedies of a training company is that it's all about cash flow and getting that money in early and being sure that the course will run and the course will run profitably. The sooner you have enough participants that are covering your course costs, the more confident you're going to be in being able to run the course in the future. And then you can start getting confidence in the marketplace of running these courses. So here's another case study from the airlines. So an airline wanted a pricing strategy to match those of another low-cost carrier. So what they did is they offered low rates, but they offered limited availability at the low rates. And then they added supplementary services and extra things on top of it. So what the result of this, of course, was that those prices were just a few cents, could be offered in advance, but customers would buy it and not even use the ticket. So the attrition rates were high. And of course, for a training course, that's a bit awkward to do. But it's a marketing coup to be able to say you can get a first aid course for $5, and the sort of marketing blitz that would cause for the only the 3 or 4 places that you're going to offer at that price is definitely worth it. And then the supplementary services that are purchased on top, such as in the case of Ryanair, taking on your bag, having a seat near a window. You had to pay for every flipping thing under the sun. You had to pay if you wanted a tea or coffee. You had to pay if you wanted water. All those sorts of things. There were lots of extras you had to pay for. So in this case, for these airlines, often the price was the only differential factor in each seat. So often it was just the price that was different. So I'll speed up a bit. I notice I'm definitely hitting my 25-minute mark. So there's a couple of more case studies. I'll just quickly go through these, and then I'll see if there's any questions. So course attendance. These are case studies that we did. We were limited to 1 to 3 months in advance. We needed forward purchasing commitments. I think I mentioned this earlier. So what we've done is we've set our corporate account pricing. So we offer corporates to purchase 12 participants in the year, and they get preferential pricing and preferential conditions. We allow them to cancel somebody off a course without any penalty. For each course allows 1 cancellation or transfer with no penalty, but we make them commit to purchasing 12 participants within 12 months. And that helped us. And once we got a number, we've got probably about a dozen of these arrangements in each location. And that gives us this base of people who are definitely going to be attending our training courses. Another case study that we did, we had competitors that were offering services like free exam guarantees. So they would be able to decrease. They were basically inside their price. They were including the free exam guarantee. Okay, so you did not have to pay if you failed the exam. The exam cost would be borne by the provider. So what we did is we said, right, we'll offer the same thing, but we're going to offer the exam guarantee as an option. So we decreased our price and then offered the exam guarantee as an optional extra. So we were actually able to offer lower prices than our competitors and still offer the ability to add on that extra, like the exam guarantee. And then final case study that we carried out, again about this 1 to 3 months in advance. We decided, like I mentioned, about the early bird pricing. So we included early bird pricing that incremented frequently. And as I was saying, we increment them on a per week basis. So this gives you an idea of how it works for some of our courses. Week 8 prior to the start date, that's the price, and then we're increasing each week until we get to week 0. And that's what it says on our website. You can see there, just on the right-hand side there, it shows you the price, tells them what they're saving, and tells them when it's going to change, when the price is going to change. And as I mentioned, in some places we actually drop. Week 0 goes back down to the week -8 level. But the customer doesn't really know that, and we don't necessarily do it. We only do it if we think we've not got sufficient participants to maximize our profitability. So thank you very much for listening. I'll stop the recording in a moment, but if you are interested in further seminars like this, feel free to go to coursesales.com. I will be sending out an email which will include the PDF file again, and also links to where you can go and see this presentation on YouTube. So thank you very much. I'll stop recording, and if anyone has any questions.